Welcome to Real Estate U with Letty Ann.
Welcome back to Real Estate U, our podcast with Letty Ann, our season 2. And today we have Lori Goss with KC Builders and Design. Welcome, Lori.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yay. Awesome. So we just spoke with Kelly, of course, the owner of the company, KC Builders and Design, and you are the director of operations there. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. But I also want to tell everyone, too, that you foster German Shepherds.
Yes.
I think that's great. So I love hearing your stories and seeing everything you're doing for German Shepherds on your Facebook page and all of that. So kudos to you for that. So, I mean, that's true dedication. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the building process. So how long have you been in the building business, Lori?
It's been over 20 years.
Wow. Okay. And as our producer said, Kelly spoke so highly of you. You're so knowledgeable about the building process, but more importantly, the fine details of the building process.
Yes.
And in this 19 minutes that are left, we're not going to even have time to barely skim the surface. But what we encourage people to do is reach out, of course, to a local builder, contact Lori or Kelly or anyone at KC Design, Builders and Design, or myself about the building process, because people need to do their homework before they get started.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's very important to know what you want, at least have an idea. Some of the things are going to change throughout the process. Once you get walls up, once you kind of see how things are going, you're going to change your mind and all that stuff a little bit through the process, but having a general idea is very helpful. Having pictures is very helpful. A lot of Pinterest, that when people come to me and show me an idea of what the direction they're wanting to go, then it makes it so much easier for us to help them get there. Pictures, pictures, examples, things like that. Something you've seen before. It's easier to communicate that way.
So you encourage people to do that, because I think sometimes people think, well, I don't want to have this booklet of photos that I've been saving for the past month, but really that's very helpful.
That's been very helpful. I actually had a homeowner that brought a notebook. She had a 3-ring binder, and she had so many pictures in there, and she was thinking that was a negative, that was going to be too much or whatever, but it was not. It was very helpful. She had pictures of, different trim styles that she liked, different, built-in things that she liked, different colors, textures, all that stuff. Houses she had seen before just when she was out, maybe looking at model homes and things like that. Plus pictures from Pinterest and the Houzz, those kinds of places. Those are very, very helpful.
Were you blown away by her coming in with this note?
Very organized.
Because you said textures and trim? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I want to interject 2 things here. First of all, when we just, my husband and I, we're in our new home construction, and my husband said, well, how involved do you want to be? I said, I would like a double oven and a true masonry fireplace. Call me when the house is ready. Yes. I mean, that's, whatever else you pick, Jack, is fine. I did end up picking a few light fixtures and things because we had fun doing that. Mm-hmm. And what we were encouraged to do is pick what you like. People are like, oh, does brass go with this? Or does that brushed needle go with that? And what about the hinges? And what about my faucets don't match that? Who cares? Our designer looked at us and said, if you see it and like it, it's your house, buy it. Mm-hmm. What about that light fixture? Oh, it might not go with the, who cares? And Jack was so nervous about that. We picked some cool, funky stuff, even for Jack, because I know you know Jack.
Yes.
So he was out of the box and he's like, oh my God, these are so cool. He had fun with it. Good. And you know what? It all came together.
Yes.
Second thing I want to say is, if you're wanting to do these finer details, pick out your trim, pick out your paint, pick out your textures, you need to enlist a custom builder. Mm-hmm. So production builders won't allow you to do this. So again, just in an effort to educate.
Yes, and don't be so afraid that things aren't going to come together at the end. It's very hard when you see, for example, the stain go in. The cabinets are going to look different. When you first stain them, they're a lot darker. They're usually not dry when you first go look at them. When you put the lacquer on top of it, it changes the depth of the stain a little bit. And so a lot of people get freaked out at that stage because they're thinking, oh no, that's way darker than what I thought it was going to be, or way different tone or what have you. But then the walls aren't painted yet. You don't have all that stuff that makes it all come together. So don't freak out about one little aspect, because it always works out.
And then the lighting too, because they're looking at a swatch or they're looking at a sample, but maybe that was on a cloudy day.
Yes.
And then they're coming back and the stain just went on and the sun is out and they're, oh my word, this looks more yellow than. So it's imperative to have and the details worked out. But somebody like you, and I know your company also offers a designer to handhold, the builder, the buyer along the way as well.
Yes.
But I love hearing how detailed you guys are, and you're embracing how important the details are.
Absolutely. Walk through the house and think about, take the time to think about, where would I want an outlet? Do you do Christmas lights up on your mantle?
Let's talk about an electrical walkthrough. That's what it's called, an electrical walkthrough. What happens during an electrical walkthrough in a new home?
Typically, the electrical contractor goes out there and he will mark out what is to code.
So sorry to interrupt, Lori. At what stage? So are there just studs there?
Yes.
Do we have
After the
drywall
house
yet?
has been framed. There's no insulation. There's no sheetrock. So it's hard to visualize sometimes for a lot of people then. But if you can stop and think about, okay, what do you normally do at the holidays? Do you normally put, your lights up there on the mantle? Do you normally put lights up on the house? Think about putting outlets there at that point. Do you want your TVs up high? Because it's not a code to have to have an outlet up high on the wall, but most people hang their TVs on the wall now. So add an outlet up there on the wall where you're going to hang your TV. Kind of just try and visualize life. Is it important for you to have, a lot of people like to do the motion sensor lights in your pantry. Your hands are full, you got your groceries. When you walk in, do you want to be scrambling for the light fixture, for the light switch? No, it's easier if it just comes on. Very simple little things. It's not a lot of extra money. And if you do those things on the front end, it just makes your life easier on the finish.
But if you're rolling through your electrical walkthrough, like you just wake up and go, oh, our walkthrough's today. Okay. And then you go to the walkthrough, you need to really understand as the buyer how important the decisions you're about to make, how important they are.
Yes.
And ceiling fan and no ceiling fan and how many switches. So that walkthrough could take 2 hours?
It could.
Or
I encourage people to walk through the house before we actually do the walkthrough. Go out there in the evening or on a day when things are calm and you can actually focus and look around and because a lot of times when you're put on the spot, you forgot things or you're not thinking, you feel rushed if there's people standing there waiting for you to say yes or no to something. So I encourage people to go out there before anybody's out there. Just walk through, make some notes, bring your notes to the walkthrough. That will help things go a lot smoother, and then you won't forget stuff. Because once it's sheetrocked and painted, it's a lot harder to add a switch or a light fixture, a box or, move an outlet. It's a lot harder to do it on the finish.
And it could be costly, so you want to make those appropriate decisions in the right timing.
Absolutely.
How big is the fear for a home buyer in the home building process that they're afraid their selections aren't going to... Don't you find that some people really want to stay within a box? Like, oh, this is trending, so maybe not even trending. So this is traditional, and I need to stay with this color palette and that, and I need to get some, they're afraid to go out of the box, or some, how...
That happens a lot. Or people they're stuck in this is how it is at my house. So they assume that things are a certain way, but, it may not be to code. Things may have changed since they built their home. There's also your opportunities to change things are unlimited when you're at the framing stage. So if there's something that's going on at your house right now that you don't like or something that's inconvenient, make notes of that so that you can change it for your new home. Because and it's not expensive to add a switch or to add an outlet on the front end. It's just not. It's just so much easier. So make notes. Don't worry about what your friend did at their house or how it was with this other model that you saw. Think about how things are going to make your life easier. Mm-hmm. So if you need this to be a certain way, no matter whether anyone else is doing it or not, if it's something that's going to fit in your day and make things easier, then that's what you need to do. Think about your kids, pets, whatever you have to do. We've got people adding a lot of things for their pets in the house. Mudroom stuff with a shower, somewhere you can hose off
with
the dogs.
With a wand or something.
Yes, things like that. So it may not be in every home, but if you're a family that has pets or even messy kids when they come in. It's easier to have something there. So think about adding those kinds of things. It'll make your life easier.
Lori, I know you wear a lot of hats, and in the building business, there are a lot of hats. You like being in the field.
I do.
So tell me what that looks like.
One of the reasons I like being in the field is because it's different every day. I can walk on the job site and there may be 4 different contractors in there, and there may just be little things that weren't on their paperwork. So they may not know exactly. Tile is a big example that we have a lot of little questions on. So maybe where the wall meets, the 2 walls meet in some corner, and it might, the tile may end up not matching it perfect. So then we got to make a decision. What's the best way to handle this so that it's going to look right? And knowing the customer, some homeowners I know are going to be a lot more picky about certain things, or they've expressed to me something that's super duper important to them. So then if I'm there to make sure that their desires, the things that are super important to them, those things still happen the way they want. So we can change things and we can, compromise on certain things, but it's important to know exactly what what the look your homeowner is going for, or the things that are just the details that are more important to them.
And besides an electrical walkthrough, what's another significant milestone during the building process?
The trim. Yes.
Really? Tell us about that.
That way you can pick out closet stuff. How you want your
surprises
closet
me about
laid
trim.
out.
I didn't. That's.
Yes, so the different trim styles, obviously, that's one of the things. But then you can do, there's opportunities for built-ins there.
Oh, right. So in your closets. Yeah. But the beauty of that, so you can ditch your dressers. You've got some built-ins. Yes.
A lot of people, depending on how high your ceilings are, we do a lot of pull-downs. So the seasonal stuff that you're not wearing all the time, you can put it way up at the top. That leaves you more room down at the bottom. Some people have more of a need for long hanging things. So you can customize your closet. There's no extra for whether you have more with the, where you can hang like shirts versus dresses. It doesn't cost any different. It's just a personal preference. So that's an opportunity for you to decide look at what you really need, what you use, what's your closet look like now? Is there something in there that really bugs you? You wish you had more space to hang shirts, or you wish you had more cubbies for shoes, whatever it is. Think about those things, because you can easily get what you want when you're doing your trim walkthrough.
And these are the details of the home, but let's rewind the tape a little bit to you have, and so if someone comes to KC Builders and Design, what I tell people with a local custom builder, you're generally going to look at their set of plans, whether you like a 2-story, a reverse, a 1.5-story ranch, what have you, but then they can modify the plans that you have.
Yes.
We want a bigger pantry. Actually, when we want to extend the great room, we want to put in full-size sliders. That one, you're able to do that with a custom builder. But Kelly, the owner of the company, tells us that you are really instrumental in changing the design, even for a spec home. And we've talked about speculative homes versus a custom build. Your eye is so incredible that you've actually made suggestions to Kelly about changing some of the plans that you have. And that's moving the needle with your business. Mm-hmm. So tell us what that looks like. And
I kind of look at it when I've gone through the plans and just think about some day-to-day things. Like, for example, we had in the storage area there, the way the drain from the furnace was, it was like right in the walkway. And so I'm talking to him and I was like, when you're trying to move stuff in your storage, you don't want to be tripping over this piece of pipe here. So on the next houses, we talked to the plumber, we had them move that. So, wider doorway when you're going into storage. If you're trying to move stuff in there, you don't want to be banging up against things, or, running into the doorways and things like that. You have to have some elbow room to get through there if it's going to be your storage area. So I like to go through the houses and just kind of think logically, things that I would do. I'm going to be moving furniture in. Are these openings wide enough to do that? Refrigerators. There's a lot of refrigerators now that have the pullouts for like the freezers on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have enough room between that and your kitchen island, then you're cramped over there. That's not, that's frustrating when you're trying to you got a busy family, you got people in and out, a lot of the kids, things like that. You need to have some room there. So we've made some adjustments there. That's kind of the detail that I look at. If I was living here and I'm going to be moving around in this place, what kind of things would I want to see different, or what would make it easier for me?
And I think you're getting a sense that after speaking with Kelly, the owner of the company, and now Lori about the finer details, who you hire matters, folks. So if you are detail oriented and you're interviewing builders, you really need to dial in on, are you having these types of conversations with that builder, because those details are important to you. Again, who you hire matters, because I know several local builders, but everyone runs their business a little differently. Their value adds are different. And I love when a builder is on site or someone from their office is on site. And that doesn't mean every day, so don't expect that. But my point is, someone's watching the contractors, not every day, but reviewing the work, double checking what was installed, being sure it was done appropriately and the right way and all of that, because sometimes that happens. So I love how hands-on you guys are, and it's all the difference in the world. It really
and being
is.
approachable and accessible. I know a lot of people that have a hard time getting a hold of their builder or any of their contacts at the office.
Why do you think that is?
I mean, a couple different things. I think sometimes people are just overwhelmed. Sometimes they're just too busy and they just don't. So they intentionally don't respond very quickly on their phone to things. But I think other times, maybe they're lazy, to be honest with you. I try and
don't
always
want to hear it. They don't want to hear
Yes,
about it.
yes.
Well, I don't want to deal with that now. But inevitably, that's just going to escalate.
I prefer to deal with it on the front end. So if you're out there walking the job site and you see something that you think is a mistake and you remembered saying, hey, I wanted this change, and you don't see that it's changed, please speak up. So, because mistakes do happen. Notes get missed and things like that. So if you see a wall is in the wrong spot or something like that, a window isn't in the right spot, speak up now. So that's why I like to take the phone calls. Or, and I've never told somebody, I'm only working till 5 o'clock and don't contact me afterwards. My phone, if you text me after hours, I may not respond right away, but I will get the message and I'll respond to you as soon as I can.
I'm going to text you tonight.
Yeah. People like that, they feel heard. So that way they feel like they're not just being brushed off, or their requests are being ignored. So I think it's huge to be able to have a direct line to the person that's in charge of your build.
Does your builder that you're interviewing have a problem solver like Lori? I mean, she's proactive. She's going to help you without waiting, because time is of the essence. If you see something that might be out of place or you have a question, it's better to resolve it now,
yes.
Not next Monday. That's probably going to cost, not that it's going to cost you in time, but they've already moved on in the building business, in the process.
Yes.
So you can't rewind the tape, take the wall out, fix it, put it back up. Oh, you can, but it's going to cost money. So this has been a delightful conversation. I love that you're like the queen of problem solving, because every company needs that. And you're only benefiting the consumer and your business. So I'm so happy to know you, Lori. I really am. And I thank you for being here today. If you have questions about the building business, don't hesitate to reach out to Lori or myself, and contact kcbuildersanddesign.com. I think their website and contact information is below. We thank you for joining us today. And if you're considering new home construction, investigate it. Do your homework and pull the trigger. It's actually pretty fun. Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you on our next podcast.